G'day friends, welcome to day 21. We're 3 weeks into MERMAY, so I brought Steve back.
Hi guys.
I had someone the other day challenge me to do something with 3 materials, and I unknowingly did that with this piece.
What do you mean?
Well, I've used a pencil, a pen, and an eraser. Well, technically a circle stencil, but let's not count stencils and paper. Or I could maybe not count an eraser. I don't know. Okay, technically I'm not doing what that person said to do.
Yeah, never mind.
Day.
Completely...
Rewind.
Yeah.
Welcome to MERMAY Day 21.
Wow, 21 days. 3 weeks.
3 weeks, officially.
Good
it's almost at the end.
Really?
10 days left.
I can't believe it. I mean, the month flies by, doesn't it?
It really does, but then at the same time, it really doesn't.
Man, sometimes I wish that days were like 50 hours in a day. Because then I would get so much more stuff done.
You should move to Norway.
Oh, yeah, where the sun barely...
50-hour days.
Yeah, right?
I was on a ship that cruised out of Norway, and when we go to the back deck to have a bit of a drink at night after work...
It was still light?
2 o'clock in the morning, bright as day.
No.
It was so bizarre. You couldn't... it felt weird. It felt like you were kind of day drinking and having a little, afternoon fiesta.
But your body...
But your body is exhausted. It just looks like the most mellow party you've ever been to.
Or the most intense, feeling of jet lag, too.
Yeah, and then I've got to wake up in a few hours to do this job, which is still going to be in the daytime. You kind of have to schedule
the sun
sleep.
does kind of go down a little bit, right?
It is bright as day. 2 o'clock in the morning.
Crazy.
It looks like the middle of the day, like noon. It was so nuts. But if you ever get a chance to go on a cruise ship, I don't know if cruise ships are many people's things. I don't know if the stigma still exists, but...
What do you mean?
A lot of people say cruise ships and all-inclusive holidays is tacky.
Really?
I feel like that's maybe what I was taught.
Well, the only cruise ships...
Not by my mom, obviously. She loves them.
Look, the only cruise ships that I've really been on were Disney, so those, don't...
Oh, well, those don't count. Those are, theme parks on the water.
Yeah.
Without the rides. But, those are bougie. Those are expensive.
Well, it's worth every penny.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'd love to go and cruise as a guest on Disney Cruise.
It's so great. It's so much fun.
Working and cruising as a guest are completely different things.
Definitely.
But I did love my stint on cruise ships, actually.
Yeah.
But if you ever get a chance to cruise through the fjords, it is one of the most spectacular sights.
Say it's so beautiful up there.
It looks like a fairy wonderland.
Right, because it's literally villages within pockets of villages.
Mm-hmm. And they have all those little Scandinavian trolls just outside people's houses.
Really?
People's houses look like they're just built into the hill.
I love that.
There was this little waterfall at the back. I swear I could see fairies there.
You probably could.
It was very magical.
How cute. I love
also
that.
Hadn't been sleeping for the whole time we were in the fjord.
Right, of course. Because it's also,
maybe I was hallucinating.
Yeah, it looks like 2 p.m., but it's really 2 a.m.
Really, really pretty. So if you get a chance, beautiful.
How fun.
I struggled with these hands for a good while.
That's always been your thing, hasn't it?
I think everyone struggles with hands.
Hands aren't easy.
Hands are... there's a lot going on in hands. You've got knuckles and fingers and nails. I never draw the nails. Most of the time, I just don't even draw the fingers.
I guess, do people even really draw, full hands? I guess if you're drawing the hand, if that's the actual, subject.
I think when we're in art school, in grade 8, I think we're all getting the charcoal out, trying to draw, someone's hands.
I don't know if I would want my hands drawn.
No, definitely not mine. Now I'm self-conscious that you can see my hands.
now everybody's looking at their hands.
No, look, hands are difficult. I did pull up a reference photo. I should say I pulled a reference photo for the peonies as well, because I never draw florals. I'm not big into florals.
Oh, really?
I love looking at them, and I think they're beautiful, but
go ahead.
drawing them is not my thing. I don't know why I've never really gotten into it.
When I was a kid, I actually used to really like to draw roses.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think I figured out how to do it.
Ariel and roses?
Yeah, Ariel and roses.
I think there's a bit of a pattern to it, and the best part is petals don't look the same, so it kind of works. Yeah, you don't have to be any kind of symmetrical with it. So I did actually really enjoy doing this piece, and I love how this came out. This is my favourite one.
I'm excited to see what it looks like.
I left it black and white because I think it looks so beautiful. I didn't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
But speaking of peonies, you photograph a lot of flowers.
Well, I actually really like peonies. I think peonies are really beautiful. Peonies are what have essentially become kind of like the modern day carnation, I guess, for weddings.
Oh, like modern bridal flower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know many brides who have peonies in their bouquets.
Steve is a photographer. He's a performer, an entertainer, as well as a photographer. So he photographs weddings and does a lot of passion projects and a lot of creative works, editorial stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So Steve does a lot of weddings. I've assisted on a wedding before. It's actually kind of crazy.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Weddings are like...
There's so much pressure because it only happens once.
It happens once, and there's a lot of cooks in that kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you.
If you guys have been married, I'm sure you get it. How many people at your wedding were just giving you tips and tricks that you didn't really ask for?
Well, you know what's terrible, though, is I feel like, and then somehow I think maybe it's instinct or nature or whatever, but then we do that to the people of the following generation.
Yeah. I've definitely dished out my share of unsolicited advice.
That's the thing. I think it's kind of what I think, like... Look, I know
kind of a rite of passage, maybe.
Yeah, and I know that everybody means well, for sure. But I think that is what causes a lot of cooks in the kitchen. And then when the vendors are hired to kind of offer their services, it tends to sometimes get in the way. I'm going to be really honest with you.
Look, I'm not going to pretend to know that world. All I know is that when we were getting married, we didn't really have a lot of outside influence. So it seemed pretty simple to put together in part. Yeah. And I was very wary of accepting people's offers and donations and money, especially because, just didn't want to have to deal with the requests that might come along with it. But at the end of the day, we managed to have a very low-key wedding that was really simple, and I didn't think we had any of that fuss and bother of people trying to weigh in. We were just left to our own devices.
Well, and I feel like people didn't really offer too much advice. I don't think that felt like they were able to.
Well, they didn't think we were having a wedding anyway. We kind of sprung it on them, so they didn't have an opportunity to. And I was here for 12 days before we actually had to do it. So yeah, there was just no time. But from what we know about shooting weddings and having friends that get weddings, well, just are in weddings and have their own weddings, I mean, we've seen it just run the gamut of family involvement and drama and...
and also, and this is no offense to anybody, but I also understand why the term bridezilla happens. But I feel bad, and this is why I kind of feel bad, is because I feel like that's almost a way of just asserting an authority by saying, this is my day, this is my wedding, please, let me have what I have been wishing for and hoping for my entire childhood.
Yeah, she's not necessarily an angry woman, she's just a woman that knows what she wants.
Yeah, and then there's so many outside influences that happen that almost don't let that come to fruition. Now, I understand that there's people who, the finances, the money from weddings comes from a different place, and, Aunt Carol is paying for this, and Grandpa Joe is paying for that, you know what I mean? And then, Cousin Sharon has her ideas.
Yeah, look, you can't buy the right to change or alter the wedding. At the end of the day, it is about the two people that are getting married. I think the interesting thing that evolved over time is that wedding became its own industry.
Yeah.
So you'll always see a surcharge for wedding stuff. You'll always see, if you go and look for a venue, you could say it was for a party for 500 people and they'd give it to you for $4,000. You could say it was for a wedding and it'd be 20.
Yeah. No joke.
Wedding is its own industry. You can't change it at this point. We've got websites on websites for the knot, and you've got planners before planners. Stuff, you need to schedule when you're going to schedule something for a wedding, and it often becomes a very, very expensive day that sometimes I'm just going to go all out and say it because I see a lot of wedding stuff. Your Instagram always floods my Instagram with wedding pictures. But I see a lot that doesn't really show me a reflection of the couple, and I think that might be the saddest thing I see about what maybe modern weddings have turned into.
Yeah, it's turned into the Insta famous. What's going to get me? What's going to get me published? What's going to get? What's going to get me? Some sort of recognition or validation? What's going to get me the likes? And it's
we were guilty of considering some things for the fact that it was just what was done, maybe not really what was a reflection of us. I know that we struggled with a few things, whether we should be providing things like bread. I was I'm not going to pay $400 for bread if we're serving pizza. Just not going to happen. And also having an open bar, and then you've got people in the family that don't drink, and you're just well, you know what would be a reflection of us, when Steve and I were coming to put it together, we're this is the type of music we like. We like to celebrate. You know, at the end of the day, let's not be... Our friends know what kind of financial position we're in, with James immigrating from the States. Like, we weren't trying to lie to anyone. We were just trying to say, like, this is what we can do right now. One day we might do it all over again and have, like, a massive thing. Yeah. But for now, this is what it is. I mean, my wedding ring in itself, like, I went to Swarovski and got a $75 fashion ring. Yeah. And I know people have been so sweet about commenting on it before in these videos. I'm not taking it off. It's my wedding ring. Yeah. I don't feel upset that the little crystals are falling out and that, you know, it's kind of staining my finger. It's the symbol. Right. And what it really meant was that we got married that day, and that's the symbol of our unity. So at the end of the day, it really is just about the two people, and, you know, we serve Tim Tams as our dessert.
Literally, I mean, that was our, like...
I love Tim Tams.
My mother-in-law brought, when she came for the wedding, she brought, like, several...
Diamond Nights, too?
Yeah, several, like, packets of Tim Tams that we put together in little envelopes with little, like, you know, thank you cards attached to it, and...
We couldn't afford a $900 cake.
So our dessert...
I didn't even like cake.
And, you know, people went crazy over it. They loved the Tim Tams. We had a big pizza party at a you know, vintage kind of inspired little restaurant patio thing that we got a great deal on, and... Yeah. I had a friend who DJ'd it, some friends photographed it, and it was a lot of...
We had a lot of people that offered their services, which was really sweet, because we, you know... It's such an expensive process to immigrate and, like, start a new life, and, you know, we're also trying to save for the fact that, like, I wasn't allowed to work for 4 or 5 months before I got my work authorization. Like, that's a long time to support your husband.
Yeah, and, you know, and people who say that it's easy to immigrate into this country, it's not true. It is very difficult. It is quite a process.
But let's not go there in the comments. We're here to talk about weddings.
We're here to talk about weddings and flowers and mermaids.
Yeah, look, I walked around that wedding with a big silver tray full of Tim Tams, like a roller diner girl.
Yeah. Just passing them out.
Just passing them out. It was a really, really great time, and I think my fascination with wedding is I just really want to see the couple. I want to know their story. I want to hear it if I haven't heard it. A lot of the times you go to a wedding, you only know one person. Yeah. You don't know necessarily the partner unless you both work together or something. Right. But so you kind of want to be able to see how those stories came together and why they did. Mm-hmm. Especially, like, I mean, there's no Reader's Digest version of how we came together, so it's like...
Well, yeah, and also, like, you know, your guests can tell if it's not honest to who you are.
Yeah, and you know what? It's, like, you went there, so I'm going to go there. Sometimes I do think it's a little boring to sit at a Pinterest wedding. Yeah. I'm just going to say that.
I think we are all, as human beings, so creative, and if you just kind of tap into a little bit of that creativity, whether you think you're creative or not, I think you come up with something that's super unique and super special to you. And even if maybe it has been done before, but I'm sure that there's a way that you can put your own specific spin on it that makes it uniquely yours.
Yeah, like, we're not telling you have to go and make your gown.
No.
But, you know, if you're the type of person to... you know, love country music, then yes, I do expect to be dancing country line dancing at your reception.
Right. Even if
everyone says that's not what's done at weddings, that's not glamorous. Right. Like, no, you just
even if Cousin Kenny, like, wants hip hop, you know, and like, well, you can also have that too, or, you know.
Yeah, I mean, some of the biggest debates, I guess, people get into, it's just, it always comes down to a matter of what would be conservative in these situations, because social graces and etiquette change over time. Yeah. And you often, like, you've got the spectrum of a demographic at a wedding. You've got, you know, your youngest relatives to your eldest, and you want to respect everyone. But it can be really difficult. I think sometimes offering alcohol at a wedding is a little taboo. It can be a little socially... unacceptable depending on what family you come from, but that's when I say, like, okay, so if it's your wedding and you're the type of person to have a glass of wine,
then you can have
a glass of wine at your wedding. I wouldn't be pandering to that. And I know it can be really difficult. I've heard these struggles before, and, like, even assisting Steve on these weddings that he's shot before, I've heard some struggles that I just think, you poor thing, like, not today. No.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and, like, I've literally seen brides in tears before they're, like, as they're ready to, like, you know, like, go get married, because they have to all of a sudden change something because, you know, Grandma Sue or Great Grandma Sue, who whatever, doesn't...
Grandma Sue and Auntie Carol.
Yeah, like, I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Like, just, like, all of a sudden have their opinions, and while I understand respecting family and respecting generations, these are those moments that you just have to let the couple have their day. Because if you haven't had your day, you're going to have your day. And if you have, you know what I mean? Like, this is their moment. So, like... just be kind and let them have the day that they want, that they have hoped for.
Yeah.
And I think it also goes to like kind of, and this is a little unrelated, but kind of related, is like the whole unplugged wedding thing that we have nowadays. You know, like we exist with our cell phones. We exist with a social media following and handle and everything else. And if a couple says, please, you know, this is an unplugged wedding, honor that. Please
so you're speaking from a photographer's standpoint right here. This is so real.
Please respect the couple enough to not have the cell phones out.
Did you see any cell phones at the royal wedding?
Right, exactly. Did you see any cell phones at the royal wedding? I'm sure they were probably not even allowed into the cathedral or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? To the church. And I say that because, first of all, the couple has saved up tons of money, or, you know, have been gifted whatever they've been gifted. And they have hired vendors who are professionals and fully capable of capturing every moment of their day. Mm-hmm. And while you might love that you have got a photo on your iPhone of their wedding, I dare say that the professional photo will probably be the one that the couple uses to print out.
Yeah, look, this is not just, this is only for unplugged weddings, because there is a difference. Some people do want you to engage in social media and they
tag
want to,
it, and every wedding nowadays has a hashtag, but when they say that it's a ceremony is unplugged, let that ceremony please be unplugged.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell a story. There was a wedding that I shot, and they wanted it unplugged. I don't know how well that they announced it, but they said, please have an unplugged wedding. And the kiss was ready to happen, and I was there prepping for the kiss. I was down, like, you know, in the aisle, kind of crouched down, ready. The groom grabbed his bride, and he dipped her down, and he went, and as he went to plant his lips on hers, the groom's father brought his cell phone up in the line of my camera, right as they were kissing, and the photo that I was ready to trigger, is literally of the groom's father with the cell phone covering the bride and groom's face the first moment that they kissed.
It is literally like, it's the perfect angle of the dip, but instead of heads, it's a phone.
It
looks like a bad collage.
If I could show this to you, I would show it to you, but I'm not allowed to for, you know, client purposes. But it was so infuriating to me. Fortunately, I jumped up and I got a bunch of other photos of it. Mm. But it was that first moment, the angle, the composition was perfect and great. And I was so frustrated. And the couple was so frustrated. And then I had to use my Photoshop skills and take extra time out of my editing time to literally take another picture, take their faces and fuse it onto that original photo. And I had to do some adjustment because the angle is different.
Yeah.
An angle from a low angle to a higher angle is a different angle. So
you had to skew it.
I had to skew it a bunch of different ways. I had to
add color back in, and like the actual color and the suit had to shift. Yeah. And like that was wild. But he managed to fix it. And to be honest, like, it's one of those things as a photographer, you're actually not obligated to offer that image because it's technically the one you got, someone's phone was in the way. It's not your fault if at an unplugged wedding someone shoves their phone up there. So it was so sad, but Steve did go and fix it and made it happen, and it's a really beautiful image. So I was super impressed, but that took hours and hours.
Right.
And a wedding, there's like thousands of photos at weddings.
Yeah, and my point is like, while I'm so happy that the groom's father was able to have that picture on his iPhone, that photo was really only for the groom's father and not for the couple. And my point is that when it comes to a wedding, another person's wedding, and you are a guest at their wedding, or even if you're related to somebody who's getting married, let them have their day. Let them have the moments that they want. Let them exist in that, because this is something that they have provided for. This is something that they want to celebrate. And like I said, if you haven't had your day, you will have your day.
This turned into a bit of a lecture, I feel like.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess I got a little passionate about it.
All from a good place. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think, look, most of you, if you've been married before, you know exactly what we're talking about, because I'm sure it happened on your day too. It's happened for eons. It'll happen until the end of time. But if you're someone that hasn't been married, if you're an Annie Carroll or a Grandma Sue out there, hopefully some of this was enlightening for you as someone that's been through it, and just I don't know, it's one of those things that, like, wedding is such a big deal for a lot of people.
Yeah, and everybody wants to celebrate, and I know that people mean well, like, so I don't want to take that away from anybody, but at the same time, like, you know, like, just it is important to respect what the couple wants.
Yeah, because 10 times out of 10, it costs a lot of money. Even a simple wedding costs a lot of money. So it's... And they've... Like, you got to respect that the bride and the groom or whoever ended up putting it together, like, spent months planning how this thing would turn out. And it doesn't take a lot to ruin it. You know, a sour opinion of something, or saying something to someone that you probably could have kept until the next day.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, there's so many easy ways to ruin a wedding, because by the time you get there, you're so fragile.
Yeah.
That, like, it's even why at weddings now, sometimes I will just wait until the bride or the groom come to me. I don't go and bombard them, because I felt like I did not stop talking that entire day.
I didn't eat. I didn't eat until the very, very end.
Yeah, I got a little too drunk because I only ate one slice of pizza.
The next day was tough.
My mum brought Diamond Nights, which is a $2 bottle of passion pop
from Australia,
which apparently my family are really into. So I feel like that got passed around.
Yeah, it's literally
a cultural experience.
Yeah,
it's like,
and our friends are still like, "Hey, can you bring that Crystal Rain stuff?"
Yeah, Twilight Rain.
Twilight Rain.
Well, if you're classy, you'll call it Diamond Evenings.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna wrap that up there. Hope you enjoyed day 21.
I actually really liked this this piece that you drew. It's really pretty.
Thank you.
I think the peonies look really beautiful. It's almost like looks like
a children's
kid book illustration.
Children's illustration.
Yeah.
Children's book illustration.
There it is.
It looks like a 4-year-old did it. There you go.
No.
I really like it, and I love that Muji pen.
It could even be like a wallpaper.
Right?
Yeah. I'm
gonna cover our wall in that. I'm just gonna go in there and start drawing on the walls.
Here we go.
Alrighty, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.